Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. It's been a couple days. I've been somewhat ill, I guess you could say. I got a really nasty cold, and it was just like sinus infection, blah. I haven't felt like that in quite some time. It was kind of like a slap in the face to be sick for probably the first time in several years, but I'm back, and we're playing some Arma 3. And rather than continuing Sniper Alley, which is actually really boring, I've discovered, and way too easy, and there was no way I could make it entertaining or any fun for myself to play, I've decided to get rid of that and show you guys what myself as well as a couple of members of the Tactical Advance organization have been playing over in our TeamSpeak. We've been playing a lot of this thing called the Dynamic Universal War System for Arma 3. It's a mission type for Arma 3, and we've also gone ahead and imported a bunch of mods as well to Arma 3 to make the game run better for us. Basically, myself and a man by the name of Drevin sat down and handpicked all these wonderful mods that made us smile, and we put them in the game. And this is what we've been playing, so I wanted to showcase it for those of you who maybe don't play Arma, you're new to Arma, you're unaware of that the fact this actually exists. You can play it in single player as well as multiplayer. You also notice that I'm not playing on a standard Arma 3 terrain. This is actually Chernoris, however you want to say it, because yeah, you can do that. Now, as for the mod set that we've added to the game, there's quite a few things. I'll have them all listed in the description below, as well as a link to a Dropbox folder where I've put the mods into one big file that you can just download right from there and make it really easy if you're interested in checking out any of the mods that we've been playing with. But essentially, the Dynamic Universal War System is exactly what it sounds like. It's a dynamic war system. It generates missions for you to go on, and it allows you to do a bunch of different tasks in essentially a persistent world inside of Arma 3. So you have all these names in red here: Research Station, Outpost. These are the enemy depots, essentially. They're enemy-owned areas of the map, and if you zoom in, you can actually see they have like sort of an area where they are pretty much patrolling. Now, you can go ahead and you can change this. There's actually a lot of tweakable options when you boot up the DUWS. You can have more of these, less of these, and then pretty much the main concept of that is for us to try and capture those points. Now, you don't really want to do it directly. Even if you were playing with 5 people, it's probably not a good idea to just go in and attempt to assault all of those positions, because they're really heavily defended, usually. And, it's Arma AI. 3,000 meter headshots with pistols. We all know how that functions. So instead, what you want to do is you come over to your sort of radio man here. We're going to go ahead and request units. Now you see we have a couple different things going on inside of this interface. The first being command points. Command points are your bread and butter inside of DUWS. Now you can actually set them to a couple different options when you boot up the mission initially. 0 being like hardcore. I mean, you're not even going to be able to buy a vehicle. That means you're going to do some walking to all of your side missions to essentially start gaining that CP. I've set it to 60 just so I can showcase different vehicles and things like that for you guys. But basically what you want to do is you want to go and do side missions. That's what you do as a crew. Side missions are much more tackleable. They're much more easy to execute with a small number of people. So you can see we have a bunch of them all over the map. And if we go ahead and click on them, they'll tell us what they're all about. So Operation Fragging Lance, Down Pilot essentially, Broken Dragon, Sleeping Spirit. We'll actually do this one. It's a high value target, and we can probably actually use a sniper rifle system and engage him by ourselves then, much like we were doing in Sniper Alley, albeit much more interesting inside of DUWS. Now, completing that mission will actually gain us command points as well as army power, which you'll see here is at 0, which is interestingly enough, I think that's kind of bugged because I set it to like 100. But basically, army power is what you want to increase along with your command points. Command points allow you to purchase new supports. They allow you to unlock vehicles that yourself as well as your friends can control. At the same time, army power automatically generates more troops for your army, as well as more vehicles that your troops will actually be inside of, so you can get like striker teams, tank teams, I think eventually even air teams that will go ahead and attempt to capture those red objectives, those enemy-controlled zones on the map, rather than you having to do it and dying over and over and over, wasting your command points, because deaths do in fact cost command points if you have to be revived. You can also go ahead and you can recruit more squads. You can recruit special operatives that you can then control individually around the battlefield. Obviously, the Arma AI isn't amazing. It never really has been, but it works. I really do recommend playing this game mode with friends. You can play it single player, as I said. It'll probably be a bit frustrating. It'll probably be a bit difficult. I think this is really a multiplayer mission type. It benefits from being played with friends. But we've already purchased the armory. That's allowed us to load up our default loadout. So if any of you have played like what is it, Conquest, or some of the other modes that are inside of Arma 3's multiplayer. A lot of them allow you to save gear loadouts, and they carry over from different mission type to different mission type. So if you have any of those, you can actually load them right up as long as the weapons are available. Now, I'm going to be using, I think I have a scope on it. No, everything I have right now is actually available. We do have some weapons that we've added through mods, but let's go ahead and head out and take a look at the outside of our base. Close the door. Actually, we'll just leave the door open. So here we are in beautiful Chernarus, looking as pretty as ever. Grass feels like it's tripping out. But anyways, these are our guys, you know, essentially our military, our army right here. They will defend the base if it comes under attack, which it actually can come under attack. Now, your commander in there, he is like the only extremely important asset in the entire mission type. I mean, you can run about all day. You can play this for weeks on end if you wanted to, but if he dies, it's game over, man. I mean, he's like the roguelike captain. When he dies, everything goes to hell. So you want to keep him alive. It's very important that you reinforce your base whenever possible, and that you just do whatever you can to ensure his safety. Now, what we're actually going to do to go do that mission is we're going to order up a vehicle here. So let's go ahead and request units. I didn't want to switch my pistol, but I did. That's okay. And you can see we have all these different vehicles we can purchase. We're just going to go ahead and grab an ATV because we're one man, and that should be more than enough for us. ATVs cost next to nothing. But if you were playing with a group of friends, obviously, you might want to get like a helicopter, have somebody run transport, a tank perhaps. Just know that the AI is brutal, and they will kill you if you come within line of sight of them. That's all you really need to know. So let's take a look at our map here. We are actually, we're at one end of the airfield, and our target is at the other end here, the assassination mission. So these side missions aren't incredibly difficult. They can be if you're not careful and you just kind of let things go to hell. But let's make our way to the top of the hill, see if we can't get an eye on target. And maybe we won't be able to complete our first side mission here. Now, of course, driving vehicles and objects is always not an intelligent thing to do in Arma, and is always very risky, so don't do what I just did at home. Alright, so they're at the end of the airfield here. Is this the northwest airfield? I believe it is. So our base has actually been spawned right outside the northwest airfield, interestingly enough. Let's go ahead and get out and see if we can't get line of sight on the target downrange. Now, when you play the game, obviously you might want to do things differently. When we play, we don't have any limits on what weapons you can use. We don't have limits on scopes and things of that nature. I think in the future we might actually consider changing that, because it can make things a little bit too easy. But at the same time, you start to remember just how frustrating the AI actually can be. We are actually messing around with making use of an AI modification. So we'll see how that goes, and maybe in the future we won't have certain scopes that we'll use. We'll take them out just for the interest of making the game more interesting rather than just making it one giant snipe fest. So 1.2 kilometers, that's about smack dab in the middle of the airfield there. Don't have line of sight on target. There we go, we have some infantry. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So of course, that center point that I marked on the map there, which is directly inside of this circle, is a rough objective marker. The enemy that we need to take out could be anywhere within inside of this. So if we go ahead and we look at our tasks, set that as current task. A high enemy target has been spotted somewhere in this location, hunt him down. There's a good chance he's obviously going to look different compared to these standard foot soldiers here. Maybe he's going to be wearing a beret or some type of an outfit, carrying just a pistol. But that's up for us to find out. So let's see if we can't get a beat on him. I think what we might do is actually go ahead and engage those two targets. Maybe stir things up a little bit. Just get into some feisty sniping action. How about that? And we're also going to make use of a mod system that I've absolutely fallen in love with, and that is the TMR weapon resting system, which is a modified version of another weapon system. So those of you who are familiar with Arma might recognize it and say, hey, why aren't you using the other one? This is just the one we chose to use. That's the end of it, pretty much. Basically, it allows me to actually deploy a bipod, much like you would if it was real life, rather than just firing from the ground without using a bipod on a weapon that clearly has a bipod. So those guys are at about 900, I guess we'll go with. They are closing, but that should be a rough distance that we should be able to gauge from. Let's go ahead and zero in to 900 meters. Let's go ahead and take the first shot. Target alerted, target not down. Not sure how we missed that one, but we did. So they've kind of went off and disappeared now. The failure of a sniper right there. Missing his first shot. The most important shot that he is going to fire for the rest of the mission. What is that? You guys see that on the ground there? I don't know if that's just trash. So basically we've lost line of sight with our targets, which is obviously not a good thing. At this point, let's reassess the situation. Let's get on the ATV. I think what we're going to do is we're going to head to that side of the airfield. Cautiously, of course. Hopefully there's no more enemy patrols here. I mean, when you're inside of an enemy area like this in general, you're going to see patrols that aren't directly inside of the location that is marked on your map. So, caution is advised. I think what we might do, although this is super risky, is climb this tower here and get a line of sight. Because the AI is just going to return fire as soon as they get any sort of like laser guidance on us. But hey, let's roll the dice here. And see if we can't find our high value target from up here. Might have to go and increase my draw distance briefly. Now, one of the things about this mission, if you're going to be running it with your friends, that I should strongly advise, is it cannot be hosted on a dedicated server. You have to know that, because the host has to actually control a lot of the different settings inside of the game. The host also plays the role of the commander, the one who actually moves around the AI infantry. So, if you go to play this with your friends, pick the person who has the highest, most powerful CPU and the best internet connection possible, the host, because it's just going to make the experience more enjoyable for everyone else. That's my only bit of advice that I can really give you about the best way to play this. Okay, so we have two more infantry. Another two. There he is. Okay, so there's our high value target. Let's go ahead and range this. See if we can't engage him. And then I think what we might do is actually just get the hell off this ladder as quickly as possible. And maybe retreat or start to engage targets. There's a good chance they'll return fire, and at 1,000 meters they have a very high chance of actually hitting us. So let's go ahead and do this thing, though. You guys ready for this? So that was 968, so we're going to go ahead and go with 1,000 meters. Let's try and get to the right spot here so we can deploy our bipod. What we might actually do is use this... Okay, so we can't actually deploy the rest system on this. It's not really finding the sweet spot, I guess you could say. Let's make our way over here more a little bit, maybe? Please let us use this system. No good. Alright, so we have no way to deploy the system up here. We're just going to go prone and hope for the best here. Target down. One shot, one kill. Well done. Let's go ahead and retreat now. So you can see we have 20 bonus CP for completing the mission. Of course, that CP is going to be very helpful to us in the future for recruiting more squads and things of that nature. If we can just get down the ladder without dying here, classic Arma style. Oh man, okay. One of the other things you may have noticed as well, that one of the mods that we have implemented is the JSR or JRS, I forgot how you say it, sound mod, which is why the intervention sounded damn sexy there. It's probably one of the best things you can do for Arma, in my opinion, is to use that sound mod. It's not perfect, it has some issues, but I strongly recommend it. It really improves the sound quality, especially of a lot of the default weapon systems inside of Arma 3. Massively, I mean, the enjoyment you will get from playing with the sound mod is... It's so worth it. Check it out. Well, let's get on our TV and let's get the hell out of here, because I know exactly what's going to be happening in about 10 minutes. Those dudes are going to be pushing down the airfield, and they're going to be on our face, firing away like a madman. Interestingly enough, there's quite a few of them at the airfield, and our base is right around the corner, so you can definitely expect them to be pushing some sort of an assault on our base as you were to get, you know, as if you got further into the DUS. The more time you spend in it, the more aware the AI on the map become, and if you're not doing a good job to increase your command points, your army points, to send out troops to eliminate them, they're going to come and try and eliminate you. It's what makes it really interesting. I mean, you might return from a side mission to find your base under attack, and you end up in this like half-an-hour firefight with maybe 50 plus troops. It's a wonderful, wonderful game type. Of course, you know, it can't really compete with a really well-crafted mission, but I think it's the replayability here and the randomness, the really crazy, hectic moments you can have that make it really, really fun. Let's go ahead and bounce out here. Speaking of that, I'm going to have a link to a video in the description below, which is actually a small clip that Drevin, one of the other people I play with from the Tactical Advance organization, recorded of, you know, the perfect example of why you shouldn't be complacent when you play a game type like this. It's very easy to get complacent in things like this, and Wasteland, where, you know, there's a lot of walking around and wandering, but go check out that gameplay clip and you'll know why you shouldn't do complacency. It gets you killed. But that's been a brief look at DUWS, guys. I'm going to be attempting to record footage when we play multiplayer sessions and make videos of it. Not sure how I'm going to do that just yet. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of good moments that happen that I would really like to capture and maybe do commentary over, or just, you know, make really nice quality videos out of that I think you guys will enjoy quite a bit. Again, if you're interested in the mod set that we'll be using, I'll have it linked in the description below, as well as that download over on my Dropbox if you just want to download all those files in one go, make it really easier for you. Let me know your thoughts on the DUWS system if you've been playing with it. Also, if you're someone who plays Arma avidly and you have any mods you would like to recommend to us to help improve the Arma 3 experience, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. It's been Tony Mo, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey Jerry, how's it going? Dave, you doing good there? Keep up the good work, man.